Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers. Welcome to episode 232 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. And also, this is a very special episode. It is our 4-year anniversary. Back in 2016, January 1st, actually. January 1st, 2016, I officially launched Dreams and Drive. And I remember launching episode 1 with David Michael Jones and not really expecting or not even really thinking. I don't think at that point I had the capacity to even dream this big or to even be able to predict what 4 years from that moment would look like. So I just thank you to everybody who has been rocking with me for these past 4 years. If you remember the Checkers drive-through origin story of how I first got the idea for Dreams and Drive, although I had been knowing I wanted to start a podcast for a few months before then, I was coming out the Checkers parking lot. I saw this no parking sign, took a picture next to it, and that no parking eventually evolved into the Dreams and Drive concept. And the biggest thing I want to say right now is like, you never know what could happen if you just believe in an idea and run with it and see where it evolves, see where it takes you. And that's what I want to invite you in today, is to hear and really absorb the things that I'm going to talk about and all the reflections that I've had over 4 years of Dreams and Drive. But specifically, I want to make this episode be more of a year in review. So thinking about the things that I've learned over the past year, I'm really excited to be able to just reflect on that with you guys. I always say this in the beginning of every episode, so I don't want to forget to say it now, but please share this episode, guys. I think being a woman of color podcaster and being able to do this consistently and successfully for 4 years is an amazing accomplishment. And I want to inspire other people that if you don't give up on your dreams, they will come true. So please share this episode with somebody who you know who is scared to press start, right? Who's in park right now and needs that motivation to put themselves into drive, because there's so much that can happen when you actually do put the lever or put the gear shift into drive. All right. So make sure you share this. You can find us across social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Dreams and Drive, and use the hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing as well. And if you want to be part of our newsletter, the keys, it goes out weekly. Just go to dreamsanddrive.com/join. That's dreamsanddrive.com/join. So something else that's going to be part of this episode will also be you being able to hear from dream drivers. People will be asking questions. We'll have a listener Q&A. You'll hear some clips from some of our dream drivers, some reflections. So let's start it out. So a few weeks ago, I put out an ask to my list. I said, hey, guys, if you want to submit a video clip or audio clip, please do something. So we had a few submissions. When I heard my girl, Kiana Edie of the New Geechee podcast, and what she had to say about Dreams and Drive, like I tell you, I almost was in tears, because you never know how much other people looking up to you, or how proud people you may have never met. Like, I had never met Kiana in real life, but we've been virtual buddies for a long time. And so just hearing her feedback and hearing how this show has impacted her has really impacted me and has made me reflect on the future of Dreams and Drive. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, let's hear from Kiana.
Dream drivers, and to our chief dream driver, Miss Raina Campbell. This is Kiana Edie, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona, and I just want to start by saluting you for 4 years on the Dreams and Drive podcast movement. It's been indeed an awesome adventure to learn about all of these amazing creative and professionals on your platform, as well as hear all of your transparency on your dream driving journey. As a podcaster, I have learned so much from you about interviewing, about marketing, about really chasing your dreams, and about really just putting your all into something and seeing what happens. So I really appreciate you. I really appreciate everything that you give so freely. You don't find that a lot, and I think you do all of this from the heart. So whatever we can do to continue to support you over this next 4+ years, definitely let us know, Raina. We want to see you continue to push the limits and boundaries of what Dreams and Drive can be. put out the videos, put out the movies, continue to do your photo shoots, all of those things, the events. We believe in you, and we want to see you live out your dreams, Raina. Thank you again for all that you do and all that you share. You are amazing. And to all of my dream drivers out there that are listening, the sky is the limit, and Raina has shown us how to get it done.
Thank you so much, Kiana. Those words really meant a lot to me. I needed that encouragement. I needed to know just how much impact the show has had. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get into some episodes that I love this year. So we started off the year with episode 186 with Megan Asha, and that actually was an episode that I really enjoyed. So Megan is the CEO and creator, founder of Founder Made, which is an event series now that really focuses on getting founders found, people who have new business ideas in the beauty, tech, wellness worlds. And Megan really shows in this episode what it's like and what it really means to scale up. So her idea started as something very simple, having dinner and inviting people and then having someone speak over dinner. And it now is this bi-coastal, huge event that happens. And I enjoyed our conversation. So episode 186 is one that I really loved. I'm going to try to list these out. I won't probably get into too much detail with all of them, but I want to just give you some of my favorites this year. We had episode 198 with Dr. Bobby Price. If you want to hear about how he really chose vegetation over medication and his journey from being somebody who was riddled with a lot of health problems and how he went plant-based and how that changed his entire life and the dream driving journey along the way. Definitely listen to episode 198. Episode 199 with Rich Keller, that's my coach. He has this concept of scoring with your one word. So we talked about what's my one word, which is storyteller, what's his one word, catalyst, and how others can find their one word and why knowing your one word is so important to your own journey. So definitely check that one out. Another favorite of mine this year was episode 202 with Kim Lewis of Curl Mix. I love episode 204 with Pinky Cole of Slutty Vegan. Now, I'm telling y'all, if y'all really want a kick in your butt, you can do it. I did it. Here's my story. Listen to how Pinky Cole, in under a year, was able to have so much success with her vegan food concept store, Slutty Vegan, all right? You will really learn what it means to be a hustler, what it means to be a dream driver, and what it means to believe in yourself. So please, y'all, if y'all have not listened to episode 204 with Pinky Cole, go back and listen to that one. Another favorite of mine, and I think this is the favorite more because it was more of a new experience for me and was really a reminder that sometimes things happen and you can flip situations and you got to just be willing to go with the flow. So episode 206 was with Kiana Lede, and she's a singer-songwriter, and she had this really popular song called X. And how I got that interview was because her team reached out to me because they loved the episode 145 with Jennifer Lewis, and they wanted to include that on an upcoming song of hers on her EP, Myself. And the song was called Heavy, and they wanted to include that excerpt from Jennifer Lewis. So I was able to negotiate as part of the publishing process. Hey, I would love to interview her in person. We did it in New York City at Republic Records in their conference room, their Cash Money conference rooms. And I was able to meet her in person and really talk about her own dream driving journey. It was really cool to hear how her mother was the one who put her on to that Jennifer Lewis episode and how she really wanted to make it be on her album. And at that moment, I really haven't done that many in-person interviews. I do a lot of mine via Skype and video conference and Zoom. And it made me realize there's power in interviewing people in person. I don't have to be afraid. I have the tools. I have the wherewithal. And that was a really big highlight moment for me in May, being able to interview her. Or was that June? I think it was June. And would love for you guys to check out episode 206 if you haven't. Episode 211 with Kia Stewart. She is the founder of Lux K, and she's a nail educator. She is an artist. She is just so dope. I love her Instagram page, and This was her first podcast interview, and she was so raw. She talked about her journey. So definitely that's one of my favorites this year, 211. Then I love episode 214 with Tiana Robinson, who went from a marketer to a makeup mogul. And she just really gives a lot of tips on what you have to do to really build your brand and to really take whatever concept you have and really start making some money and some revenue from it. So if you guys were struggling in that area, Tiana Robinson was a great episode 214. And then we have, this is probably one of my faves. It's another in-person one. It's with Craig Robinson. That's episode 221. And Craig Robinson is the older brother of Michelle Obama. Our in-person chat, I think it was not only one of my best interviews to date, it was just being able to sit down with your pops or an older figure and get the game and really just hear him talk about all that he's gone through, all that he has struggled with along his own journey. I love being able to talk to him about that stuff. And then I think my last favorite pick, and mind you, I'm being a little bit biased here, but I just want to kind of give you guys ones that really talk about the dream driving journey and going from park to drive, because as I reflect on how I've been able to get to 4 years of dream driving, I think a lot of the principles that a lot of these guests talk about are ones that I've tried to follow or ones that I know I aspire to follow. So Bertoni Faustin, first black male winemaker in Oregon, his journey of how the death of his father really pushed him to want to do something and to want to have an impact was very impactful. And it was also another interview where I did it in person, meaning we actually videotaped. So we were doing it on Skype. And normally when I do it on Skype, I don't have the video going. So I was able to see him. I was able to interact with him. And that video is actually on YouTube. You can go to YouTube/Dreams and Drive if you want to listen to that. A lot of these interviews that I mentioned, I had to really push myself in new ways. And the conversations were one that were new. I enjoyed being able to have this in-person contact, and it was another push to me to just stop being so fearful of things, right? I'm naturally somebody who's very risk averse, so I have to really push myself to get out of my comfort zone and to do things that will help make me better. So these episodes really unleash something within myself of how I can level up in a lot of ways. So I also, as part of this 4 years of Dreams and Drive year in review, I asked people they could send in clips. They also could send in statements, testimonials. And this one is coming from Mia Hall, episode 47 guest. And on that episode, we talked about how to find your dream job. And Mia shared her story. And this is what she had to say. I'm reading to you these positive things that others say about the podcast and about me as a person, because I think sometimes we don't bask in our accolades. We don't often enjoy and allow ourselves to receive compliments and to receive testimony. So I'm sharing this with you to also encourage you. Don't be afraid to ask people for feedback, to tell people, hey, let me know what you thought of the show, because whether it's positive or negative, it's very, very important to know and to have a gauge and just to be able to celebrate yourself. So this is coming from Mia. She says, Raina, wanted to share a quick testimony. Loved being on your show and listening to all of the amazing episodes. And best of all, if it wasn't for you, I would not have known how to start my own podcast. Your work ethic and giving spirit to share your success stories and tools are matchless. And I'm super thankful for you being you and keeping your dreams in drive. Much success to you this year and in all of the years to come. So Mia has a podcast with her dad called Parables from the Projects. And she reached out to me, I want to say in the beginning of the year, and was just asking for some tips on how to start her podcast. She had already had a little bit of knowledge and wanted to just go have a call. And I love the concept, and she's somebody who has been so good to me in my past. So we definitely were able to connect, and her being able to launch her show and have live shows and just all the good stuff that has come from her entering the podcast world. I receive this testimony. I receive it because life is a two-way street. And when you give to others, they give to you. And that's something that I don't want anyone to forget about, is don't forget about your peers along this dream driving journey. As we enter into 2020, Think about those who are at the same level as you, people who you could hustle with together and both of you guys can get ahead. I know for me along my journey, that's been really important. So I want to just make sure that I stress that for you all. So let's get into some of the good things and some of the challenges that I've faced. Let's talk about good first. So the first thing that I think was a success was our event. So we had our Dreams and Drive dinner party that happened in April, and it was curated by Courtney Futch, our episode 59 and 60 guest, and she made a delicious meal. We had about 40 people in her loft-style apartment in Jersey City, and I was so scared, y'all, to do an event. I was so scared to do it, but it showed me that people will show up for you if you give them a chance or you tell them how they can support you. I was able to get sponsorships. I was able to get goodie bag participants. Our guests loved it. People want to support you, but sometimes you have to give them something to support. So thank you to everybody who really helped with that first event. And then in July, we had a Dreams and Drive happy hour at Intersect by Lexus in New York City. And we had about 15 people come out to that, and we were just able to mingle over drinks. It was a learning experience for me. I learned that it was probably a little bit early on a Friday to have a happy hour. Maybe another day would have been more helpful. Definitely learned a lot, and it made me realize, like, girl, you could do these events. You can do them even bigger. And on that front, by October, I worked with podcaster Nicaila Matthews Okome of Side Hustle Pro, and I helped her produce her first live podcast show, Side Hustle Pro Live. And that was another major accomplishment for me this past year because, I started the year with these producing ideas. I actually was going to help produce another podcast show concept with my mastermind. And by the end of the year, I closed it out with Nicaila and doing Side Hustle Pro Live. And it made me realize, stepping out of your comfort zone, stepping out of your fear zone is so important, and start living in your genius zone, your gifts, your hustles, the things you do well. Allow people to pay you. Allow people, and I'm saying allow because a lot of times we want to sell ourselves short. I was so happy that Nicaila was like, girl, I will pay you. Tell me a price and we're going to make this happen. And I just appreciate her so much. And the final product was just spectacular for her first live show. And it really taught me a lot about what it goes into producing events. Another big thing for me this year was getting a publishing deal. So not technically me, but my podcast interview with Jennifer Lewis being on Kiana Ledé's song Heavy, now that was a major win. Make sure you go and type that in, listen to Jennifer Lewis really close out the song there. I think this year was also good for relationships and building new relationships, strengthening old ones that I had, and really thinking about how can I foster these relationships to help me grow the brand? Maybe we can turn this into the challenges. I think there are a lot of challenges this year. So this is my first full year as a full-time entrepreneur. I quit my job in August of 2018, but this was the first year that I was completely on my own. So in the beginning of the year, I was doing I got unemployment. But towards the end of the year, and as I'll mention later, I've been struggling with figuring out what will be Dreams and Drive revenue platform. And I realized that relationships were key for me because it was a relationship from my old job. My old boss reached out to me with a marketing gig that was a few hours a week, paid very well, and was able to help me cover some living expenses that I was struggling with. Hey, I don't want to have to keep dipping into my savings. So that was a blessing in disguise. It was such a blessing to me to be able to do that. So I think it's a win, meaning relationships and nurturing those, and then kind of going into challenges, which is revenue and figuring out, all right, girl, this has to be a business. What's the business of Dreams and Drive? I'm still figuring that out. I think something else that might be interesting for you guys to hear, and it's something that I'm wondering how to fix, is this year, honestly, my downloads went down. I've been having a steady increase in downloads since the show has started, but this year was the first year where month over month we were decreasing in downloads. I was still putting out the same amount of episodes. I thought the episodes were still as dynamic, but downloads were going down month over month. And so I'm in this period now where I'm trying to reflect on why was that happening? What can I do so that doesn't happen again? Is there something that is wrong about the show? Should I change the format? There's a lot of things that I've been thinking about moving into 2020. I said this is a year of discovery for me. And there's a quote like, if you keep doing the same things, you'll keep getting the same results. So I know that I have to really think about that and be strategic about it, because I don't only do this for fun. I want to make sure that I'm increasing the listenership. I'm increasing the audience, but something I'm doing is probably, or something's not working. So I've been doing a lot lately to try to investigate that. A lesson I learned from podcast interviews this year: celebrity doesn't always mean more downloads or more shares. I had a few celebrity guests on this year, and I had to tell myself, I think people give you false promises. They'll say, hey, yeah, we'll share it. But I can't bank on celebrities sharing episodes. I have to really bank on the marketing and all that other stuff that goes into it. And that's why I think sometimes in picking who my guests are, I think sometimes we get caught up in celebrity names. But if they're not sharing the episodes, if they're not as excited to be on the podcast as you are to have them, I found that people who were not celebrities, but they were more excited and their fan base was more excited to hear from them, and they shared it and they raved about it, those were the episodes that did very well. So I had to get into this mindset of not always trying to go for celebrities, but always go for people that want to be and who have great stories and who want to be on the show. And that's what I'm really, really trying to focus on this year. Another lesson I learned was, girl, don't be so happy with organizing your podcast download files, and you also need to have a backup. So this year we actually did lose a really good episode. You guys didn't hear. It was with my friend Karan Reed. He went to Princeton with me, and after Princeton he went to the NFL, and he reflected on his journey of growing up in a Christian household, and then what that was like trying to be an athlete, trying to be a student, and now trying to be a professional athlete. It was such an amazing conversation, and afterwards, I was organizing the files that I host on my episodes in, and I accidentally deleted the episode, and there was no way for me to recover it. I didn't have a backup. So you guys know now who has backups for things, okay? This one definitely has backups. Hopefully I can get Karan on this year, but I just feel like maybe the episode that we'll have this year will be even better than the one that we had last year. I think something else that I struggled with this year, although I think I was consistent, I didn't really reinvent the way that I was marketing. As you guys know, I talk about marketing a lot, but we have to really think about how can I get new listeners to the show. I wasn't on a lot of podcasts this year. I wasn't really doing out-of-the-box marketing things. I kind of was sticking to the whole newsletter and social media promotion, but I want to get outside the box and think about what are some things that I can do to really get new eyes, new listeners coming in. So if you guys ever have tips, feel free to let me know. I'm always open to hearing it, but I know for 2020, I really want to ramp that up. And I want to be on other podcasts as well. So definitely reach out to me if you want to pitch having me on your show. And then lastly, beyond money, I think money was also an issue. I definitely saved a lot of money before quitting my job, but I found that I was dipping and kept going into my savings. And I'm like, I really have to get this revenue thing sorted out. Healthcare, I finally was able to get healthcare during the fall of this year, which was a huge relief to me, huge relief. The thing though that I think I'm struggling with now, and I just want to be honest and transparent with y'all, is I don't know if it's because I feel a little bit weird or not unsure of what the future of the show is. And it was something my sister, who also was a guest on the podcast, I think she was episode 53, she was like, let me tell you guys. She was episode 52. My sister told me, you probably need to get a mentor, a business mentor. You're in the media business, someone who's done this before. So that's something I'm actively trying to work on, or trying to get a lot of people are telling me I am the brand. I should shift to focusing on content with Raina Campbell. It's something I'm kind of a bit nervous about, but I know that people engage when they get to hear from me directly. So that is definitely something that has been on my mind. And then there's this idea of like not loving interviewing as much. And Dreams and Drive becoming something that becomes a little bit stressful for me. And I think that's also because I've been overwhelmed for 4 years. I've been doing everything myself. So 2020 will be the year of me building out a team. When you're doing everything yourself, you start to hate the thing that you first loved, which is interviewing, which is storytelling. And I feel like that's what I do best. But when I'm trying to do content production, editing, all this other stuff, the very idea of having to do interviewing, it just takes the excitement out of it. And I think that's even why I was a little bit late with putting out this 4-year anniversary episode, because I don't know, y'all, like the mic now is something that I've been starting to dread, and I just would love any suggestions on what you guys have, because I know you guys love hearing the interviews. I know that these shows really mean a lot to you, and I don't want to not have them, you know? I don't want that at all. So I'm just being real about the things that have been a little bit hard for me. All right, so let's get into another Dream Driver shout out. This one is coming from Kimberly of Gifted Brown Girls. And this is what she said in the email to me before you guys hear from her. She said, "Thank you for being an inspiration. I recorded this on my new mic for my new podcast that's coming in late January. I really have been a student of podcasting this year, and I have you to thank. 2019 was my first year listening to podcasts, and Dreams and Drive was the first one that I ever listened to." Yeah, this is so special. Kimberly's always showing love on social media. So yeah, let's listen to this clip from Kimberly.
Hey, this is Kimberly from Gifted Brown Girls. Raina Campbell sits among some of the most phenomenal gifted women podcasters. I subscribed to Dreams and Drive at the beginning of 2019 when I started my new job. The fact that I work a job that allows me to listen to music or whatever in my headphones was a blessing in disguise. Though sometimes I get a little down because I'm not working a job that I truly love, it does come with that perk. Raina shows up consistently with quality content that empowers people to chase their dreams. I put my dreams in drive this year because of the motivation Raina provides. From guest selection to her newsletter, The Keys, you will get the best advice and stories of success so that you can be inspired to either begin your dream driving journey or continue the one you've already started. If you're looking for a podcast that highlights everyday people who took a chance on themselves to make the impossible possible, then Dreams and Drive is the podcast to help you along the way. Raina, you are amazing. I'm excited to see what more you have coming. I'm so glad that you have continued to drive towards success. Thank you for all the hard work you put into Dreams and Drive. Here's to another successful year.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. Just knowing that Dreams and Drive was legit the first part of your podcasting journey, and you now getting ready to launch your own podcast this year, I really appreciate you saying that. And I just hope that others are also inspired to know that you could start from wherever you are, and you could put your dream, take that out of park, whether you're in reverse or neutral, and get that into drive. So thank you, Kimberly. So let's get into our listener question and answer portion. We have a few questions that I want to have and I want to ask. So this first person, this is coming from Delina, and she says, has anyone you've interviewed inspired you to step outside of your comfort zone? Like just go completely left field and do something you never thought you would do. If so, which episode and guest? And how did you step out of your comfort zone? Okay. That's a hard one, but I think maybe the episode that pushed me out of my comfort zone was actually episode 145 with Jennifer Lewis. I was so nervous. Normally I don't get nervous before interviews, but that one I was so super nervous. Like we actually had to have a little breathing session before we got started where she helped me get calm, center my thoughts, and then we were on a roll. So I think that one was one that helped me get out of my comfort zone. But if the first person I think that comes to mind as somebody who really encouraged me to go left field and to not be the norm and to really get out of my own head is Rich Keller. And that was episode 199 with Rich Keller. He's my coach, branding coach, marketing, personal coach. I don't even know. He adopted me a few years ago, and I just really appreciate all that he tells me and all that he encouraged me to do. He's the one who said, hey, Raina, Dreams and Drive is not the brand. Raina Campbell is the brand. Dreams and Drive is your platform, and you have to start putting yourself as the storyteller out there more. And that's what I've been working on. It's been a slow start, but it's something I'm working on. And I know that what he said really is true. So that's how I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone in that area. So another question we have is coming from Tony, and she says, what is your personal motivation to stay the course when it may appear that others on the road may be experiencing better mileage? Ooh, that is a good one. I love the Dreams and Drive analogies there. It's hard. Comparison is the root of all evil, right? Especially in these social media streets where you see people who launched a podcast yesterday and then tomorrow they'll have 1 million downloads. Although I am approaching 1 million downloads very, very soon. I think the personal motivation to myself is remembering that our journeys are unique. Our journeys are so unique, and I can't get caught up in what this person is doing or what this person isn't doing because that person is not me. And I have a unique journey here, right? Like, I don't know what they're struggling with. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I know what's going on behind the scenes with me. And it really takes me back to being a young kid and my dad being like, don't worry about what that person's doing. Focus on what you're doing. So I think my personal motivation to stay the course is knowing that my blessings are my blessings and they'll be there for me. And I don't necessarily want to have someone else's journey. And I think a lot of us, it's so easy to look on the road and see other people getting better mileage on their cars. But is it truly better? And how do you define better? So I've learned over the past 4 years to not covet anyone else's life or their journey. So another question that I think is good. Where do you get your gas to refuel and move forward? How expensive is it? I love these questions. So I think for me, where I get my gas for refueling really comes from creating space for self-care. So that might be I love dance class. That dance class is $20. I don't know if you want exact numbers. So I don't always do it weekly, but I try to do it at least once a month. I love reading. For me, reading is just one of my favorite things in the world. Reading can be free. You can find something on the internet. I have tons of books that I haven't finished yet. Another thing that I try to refuel is by eating. So I'm a wannabe chef. So I love to be in the kitchen and make things. And I like to do things that keep me centered. I love scrolling on Instagram sometimes for creative purposes and inspiration purposes. I love following our past guest, Kia Stewart, her Instagram, LuxK, for just a lot of creative nail inspirations. I'm not someone who gets my nails done like that a lot. So just seeing the artistry to how she approaches her work is something that inspires me. So when I'm feeling like I'm out of gas, too, I also sleep. I know being able to take a nap and having my own schedule is something that is sort of a privilege, but I think a lot of us don't get enough sleep, don't drink enough water. As one of our past guests, Tiara Burrell, said, we really, really, really need to make sure that we are sleeping and that we're getting water. So what mobile apps do I recommend? This is also from Tony. There's a lot of different mobile apps that I use. I think having Google Drive on your phone is very, very important. I'm looking at the ones that I use on my phone right now. I'm a Google Drive active user, so I need to have access to that stuff all the time. I love Canva. I have it on my phone if I need to make a quick edit, graphic design on the go. That's another one of my favorites. I also love my social media apps, my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So if I want to create Instagram TV videos or do some quick little edit, I use Splice. Slack has been something that I'm trying to get back into, although I haven't really used it that much, but I'm part of some different groups. So I want to get back into using Slack. But beyond that, I'm not a big app person. I don't necessarily have a lot of apps for things. I use the health app on my iPhone to kind of track my fitness and track other health-related things. I use Square Ready if I need to make sure that images are aligned right on Instagram. I like the Mail app. I'm always checking my email, although I do not get push notifications on a lot of that stuff. I try not to get myself always constantly alerted by stuff. I didn't mention this, and one of my favorite social media platforms is LinkedIn. So I always am on LinkedIn. So that definitely is a mobile app that I recommend. Then I have my entertainment apps. But yeah, beyond that, I'm not somebody who is really big on apps. I have my banking apps. I have my PayPal app. Cash App is good if I need some quick exchange. Credit Karma to check my credit. That one is good. But that's about it for me. So let's get to this one from Heidi. She said, since our masterminds, what has been your hardest challenge and how did you get around it? So Heidi Walt is a past mastermind member of mine. I was in a mastermind with her and another woman. We were part of Sophia Satterwhite's, I want to say every 2 weeks we had these calls, hour calls, or was it an hour and a half? I don't remember, but we talked about so much during this. So since our mastermind, which I want to say ended before I quit my job, so that has to be 2018, my hardest challenge, and it was something that I was struggling with there, and I think it's fear was holding me back, and maybe fear still is holding me back, is launching a product and being all right with selling it. I mean, I have merchandise, but that's different from launching a digital product that's based upon my knowledge, my information. But I do have some ideas for things that I want to work on. One being a masterclass idea. I like the masterclass concept versus a course. I don't think courses are for me. So that's been my hardest challenge, Heidi, and I'm still working on it. So just want to let you guys know that sometimes you'll be stuck with these same challenges for a while, but that's okay as long as you acknowledge them and you're willing to work to make things better. This one is coming from Amanda. She says, are you interested in working with and supporting the African American community or dreamers of all colors? I have this question. I let this one stay in here because I just want to clear something up. And I think it's important for y'all to hear this, is Dreams and Drive. I am a woman of color. My parents are of Jamaican descent. I identify as Black American, Jamaican American. I'm interested in working with and supporting African American dream drivers, the African American community. I am interested in working with all sorts of dreamers, not only people who look like me, but people who don't look like me, people who are trying to go from park to drive. And what I don't want people to think is that I only have certain types of guests on the show, which is not true. If you look through my catalog and my library, I've had all different types of people on the show. I think what just happens is my network and the people whose stories I may feature more of are women of color. But our stories matter and our stories are important, but I'm also open to featuring other people's stories. And it was never my goal for Dreams and Drives to only have one type of story being. So yes, I am open to working and supporting with dreamers of all colors, all orientations. I want Dreams and Drive to even be more diverse. I know there's lots of communities that I haven't tapped into yet, and I'm excited about being able to connect with people and share their stories because I know that's going to help others who may connect with their story. And sometimes you need to see people who look like you in order to connect. I'm very aware of that. So, hope that answers your question, Amanda. This one is coming from Levante, who was also a past guest of ours. I want to know, what's the most significant thing you have learned about yourself through this journey, and what shifts have you made that would not have happened if you didn't take a chance on yourself? I think the biggest shift that I made was quitting my job. I really had to take a chance on myself. I was kind of forced to do it, but at the same time, I needed that to happen because I probably wouldn't have done it on my own. But so much has happened since then. I realized I've been able to survive. I made it. Like, things are all right. And that's where I realized I have a fighter spirit in me. I'm not somebody who's naturally confrontational. I'm not somebody who I guess I'm a hustler, but I'm not a fighter. But I think sometimes when dream driving, you have to get into that fighter mode and you have to go out there and demand your worth. You have to go out there and demand boundaries and demand what you know you need for yourself. So I've definitely had to be in some situations like that. And I'm very proud of myself. And I know that I can overcome a lot. Even mentally, emotionally, it's been tough. There's a lot of times where I've doubted myself and I wondered, like, Raina girl, what are you doing? You need to go get a job. Or, family members, well-meaning family members, but also slight dream killers who will say, things like, just get something that's guaranteed and do this on the end. You want to pay into your Social Security. And I've realized sometimes if people don't have the resources to give you help, you need to sometimes take what they say as with a grain of salt, because a lot of people will tell you what they want you to do, but they don't actually know how to help you get to this level of quote unquote success that they're talking about. So I've learned that I need to trust myself more. It's something that I talked about with Lanice Dazzle Harris this year. She was episode 219, and I really had to do these affirmations of I trust myself. A lot of times we can really stray away from that inner voice in our head. I trust myself. Peace and success can coexist. I hear my intuition and I will follow it. Those are things that I'm really trying to put into motion. And it's the biggest thing I learned about myself, that maybe I didn't always trust myself, but when I did, and when I do, so many great things come from it. So this question is coming from Ebony, and it's a little bit different. It's some advice for her own life. She says, I have a great job right now, but I'm finally able to go back to school. Had issues with the previous student loan. My work hours are a bit crazy. How do I choose between going to school for my passion or my job now? So this is a good question, Ebony, and I think it's something that a lot of us are often facing, right? And my question to you is there any way that you can do both? So if you need the job to be able to support your life, your rent, etc., but you're really passionate about going to school, maybe what you can do is talk to your employer and figure out if there's a way that they can compromise or they can work with your schedule. Because being a student full-time will definitely be hard if you have expenses and other things and other commitments. I'm always a proponent of people asking. If you never know, ask and you shall receive, and ask not and you shall not receive, right? So maybe meet with your boss or supervisor, tell them about your passion, and they may be very willing to work with you. Now, if this school is something that you absolutely cannot do and also have a job, maybe you can ask for a leave of absence, or maybe you'll have to find a job that works well with this big goal of yours. I wouldn't say put your passion on hold for your job, only because you don't necessarily know if the job will always be around. If there's something out there that you're more passionate about, try to figure out how you can create a life so that you can make that work. A lot of times, I hear this a lot, people always say, I wish I would have done it sooner. So at least give that passion, give school a chance, see if you like it. Try to figure out if there's a way for you to do both. And if that doesn't work out, then maybe trying to find a job that works better with your school situation would be better. But you have to kind of do a pro and cons list of everything and kind of just work that out. But I would definitely say if the time is right, if you're able to clear things up, definitely try to at least pursue it now while you still have the momentum and you still have the energy to really invest in your dream. Right. So we have another question. This one's coming from Drea, and she's saying, where do you see Dreams and Drive going in the next 4 years? That is a good question, and it's something that I'm trying to map out. 4 years from now, I would love Dreams and Drives to be a media entity. I would love there to be really carved out subsections, umbrella companies, whether that's events, whether that's speaking, whether that's conferences. I would like Dreams and Drive to morph into the platform that I know it really can. I'm not 100% sure yet. So I don't want to lie and say that I have that all mapped out. And I think that's one of the challenges, because I'm kind of in this state where I'm trying to figure out what's next and what do people really enjoy. I would love to have my own Dreams and Drive TV network of some sort and really have distribution worldwide. Now that would be really cool. That's dreaming big and just having all sorts of content on the Dreams and Drive network. That would be amazing. I don't know if it will happen in 4 years, but maybe in 4 years' time, the groundwork for that will be laid. And that's a repeat of a question that we had on Instagram coming from Allie, my girl Allie Rodriguez. And her question was, I would like to know, where do you see Dreams and Drive growing from here? So I hope Dreams and Drive grows, right? Like I said to you that this year has been our slowest year when it comes to month-over-month downloads and increases. But the community has continued to grow online. I definitely feel like more people know about me. So I would love more people to know about Dreams and Drive. I would love us to expand into different types of content, videos, more events, all that stuff that I'm talking about, the bigger vision. I want to continue to lay the groundwork, but I know personally I need to get very clear and very intentional about the strategy behind that. So that's what I'm working on. So what are some things that you guys can look forward to for Dreams and Drive? Well, definitely, like I said, video. We do have a new series, Front Seat Fridays, that I'm piloting. And hopefully that will be released this Friday if you're listening in, with my first guest, my childhood friend. And she's also the younger sister of Lanice Dazzle Harris, our episode 219 guest. That's Front Seat Fridays. I'm also going to be launching merchandise again. I haven't had a new launch of merchandise in over a year. So a lot of people reach out to me because they want shirts, they want crew necks. So we're going to be having shirts, crew necks. We'll have a limited amount of aprons because you guys know I love to cook. And then we'll also have some tote bags as well. So look out for that. Also, some personal things that I want to be working on is just rebranding. Not saying that Dreams and Drive's branding is kind of outdated. Well, I kind of designed it all. And I talked to you guys about me wanting to really work with a team and let other people's opinions come in and influence the creative look and feel of the show and maybe let it have more of a personal touch. So I would love to really get a Dreams and Drive and Raina Campbell rebrand going on, get some new photos, get some new artwork, websites changed around, all that stuff. I want to make sure that people can listen to the show, but also give them a sense of excitement as well, and just having some more visual and brand cohesiveness. I want to work on putting me, myself, my brand, Raina Campbell, out there more, doing speaking events, doing engagement. So if you guys ever need a host or want me to be in your panel, please keep me in mind. I'm going to be actively pitching more, but just letting you guys know that it's something that's on my to-do list and my goal list, I think will help as well. You have to put things out there sometimes so that people can respond to you. What's going to change? So this is the part that you guys are all probably thinking about. As I mentioned, I've been not as excited about podcasting anymore. And it's not because I don't love it. I think I've just been very overwhelmed. So for the first month or so, I'm not going to be on a specific schedule. You guys won't be getting like the every Monday drops. Things won't be as regular as you're used to. But part of this is also an experiment because I want to see what happens if I change things up a bit. I also want to really do some work on episode formats, the type of episodes, the guests that we have on the show, really making sure that I'm giving you all the content that you truly want. I often get a lot of people pitching me, but I'm still stuck in between. Do you guys want to hear the better stories, or do you want to really go nitty gritty on personal, like dream driving related things? And I also want to be more diverse. I think there's a lot of different ways that I could be more diverse in terms of who I have on the show, what we talk about, age, gender, like orientation, all that stuff. There's so many different types of stories that we can share and so many that we can learn from. So that's a goal of mine for this year as well. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys all for tuning in, for listening to me. If you want to know about how you can get involved and continue to support us for another 4 years, you can definitely join the newsletter, The Keys, by going to www.dreamsanddrive.com/join. Or if you want to join our Patreon for $5 a month and support Dreams and Drive, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/donate. That's dreamsanddrive.com/donate. And then click on join our Patreon community. If you are not already following us on social media, what are you guys waiting for? Go follow us, Dreams and Drive, across the board, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and use that hashtag Dreams and Drive when sharing. And make sure that you are subscribed to us wherever you're listening to us on the internet or on your audio platform app. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all the podcasting apps. And I want to give a shout out to those who are leaving us reviews on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate it. This one's coming from Big Killer, and it says, "I love your podcast. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much." And like I said, guys, I think this goes for everyone's dream driving journey. If you want to support, the best thing you could ever do is continue to share episodes that resonate with you. Continue to tell a friend, to tell your community, to just pass it on, even if it's just texting it to one person or reposting or resharing it to your Instagram stories. All that stuff really matters, and I count on y'all every week. I appreciate you guys every week. Don't ever think that I don't appreciate it, because I truly, truly, truly do, from the bottom of my heart. 4 years of Dreams and Drive, and there's a lot that I've learned. So thank you guys for sticking in to the end and really reflecting with me. Thank you to everyone who sent in voice notes, testimonies, questions. I really do appreciate it. I hope that wherever you are, it's the beginning of the year, whether you're in park, reverse, neutral, or already in drive, just keep going. Don't stay still. Don't feel like wherever you are, you're going to be there forever. Even sometimes if you're in drive, you may have to gas up, right? You might reverse a little bit because you're looking at other people's and how much mileage they're getting. Just keep focused on what you're doing. Take that time to really be proud and to be in tune with the mission and the vision. The road may get bumpy, but the journey is worth it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in the next episode. Bye, guys.